Right, mates, let's dive straight into it. It feels like we've been away from Westeros for bloody ages, doesn't it? Feels longer than 100 years, if I'm being honest. But hey, life moves one even in fictional realms. While we've been off doing whatever it is we do, probably arguing about dragons on Reddit, some big stuff has gone down in the world of Game of Thrones. George R.R. Martin, bless his old soul, finally sat through Night of the Seven Kingdoms, yeah. That prequel HBO's been teasing us with, and guess what? He had opinions. Of course he did. The bloke never shuts up about his books or lack thereof, but more on that later. Meanwhile, House of the Dragon is gearing up for Season 3, which means new faces are coming in to shake things up. One name you'll want to remember is James Norton. Ever heard of him? Probably not, unless you're into British dramas like Black Mirror or Doctor Who. Now, he's stepping into the role of Ormund Hightower, head honcho of House Hightower during the infamous Dance of the Dragons. And trust me, this isn't just another random casting choice. Norton's bringing depth to a character caught in the middle of all the chaos between Targaryens and their enemies. But here's the kicker. Otto Hightower, Ormund's predecessor, is still MIA after being thrown in some dungeon at the end of Season 2. Where exactly? Nobody knows. Some folks think he's rotting away in the Red Keep thanks to Lord Lyra Strong pulling strings behind the scenes. Others reckon the Bitterbridges got their revenge after Otto crossed them one too many times. Either way, it sets the stage for even more drama when Daeron Targaryen shows up, because if there's one thing we know about dragons, they don't stay grounded for long. So, why does any of this matter? Because these little details add layers to the story. It's not just about fire-breathing beasts and shiny thrones. It's about power struggles, betrayal, and family feuds that make Sunday night television worth watching. You feel me? What do you reckon about Otto's mysterious imprisonment? Think he deserves whatever's coming to him, or should he get a second chance? Now, on to something completely different. Night of the Seven Kingdoms. If you thought House of the Dragon was slow burning, wait till you see this one. According to Martin himself, it's less about flashy battles and more about exploring themes like honor, duty, and what it truly means to be a knight. Sounds kind of boring, right? Not so fast. Imagine following Duncan the Tall, and Aegon Targaryen. But not that Aegon V one. These two mismatched buddies travel across Westeros, meeting lords, ladies, and common folk alike. Sure, there aren't any dragons breathing down their necks, but the stakes are still high. Why? Because this period lays the groundwork for future wars, including Robert's Rebellion and everything else we saw in Game of Thrones. Martin says the actors nailed their roles, especially the leads. If you've read the novellas, you already know how much potential this series has. For those who haven't, expect 6 episodes packed with intrigue, humor, and heart. Oh, and by the way, expect 6 episodes instead of 8. Yeah, I wasn't thrilled either. But hey, quality over quantity, right? Here's my take. Sometimes, smaller stories pack the biggest punches. Do you agree, or would you rather have another dragon-filled epic? Speaking of epics, let's talk about the obvious gap in the timeline, Robert's Rebellion. Fans have been clamoring for this spin-off for years. And recently, Aisling Franciosaithe actress who played Lyanna Starkdropped hints that she might reprise her role if HBO gives the green light. Can you imagine? Seeing young Ned Stark, Robert Baratheon, and Jaime Lannister back in action would be like reliving the glory days of Game of Thrones. But hold your horses, nothing's official yet. HBO seems stuck on projects like Night of the Seven Kingdoms and The Sea Snake, which focus on earlier periods of Westerosi history. Don't get me wrong, they sound cool, but they're not what most fans are dying to see. We want blood, betrayal, and the rise of the Starks versus the Lannisters. That's the juicy stuff. Personally, I think HBO's playing it safe. They don't want to mess up another finale like they did with Season 8. Fair enough, but come on, how hard can it be to adapt an actual book this time? What's your pick? Would you rather watch Robert's Rebellion or stick with prequels set centuries before Game of Thrones? Let's cut to the chase. George R.R. Martin is a genius, but he's also infuriating. Here's a guy who created an entire universe filled with complex characters and intricate plot sand, then left us hanging. For years, decades even. People joke that he's too busy tweeting about football games or writing blog posts to finish The Winds of Winter. Meanwhile, HBO keeps churning out shows based on his unfinished work. Is it fair? Not really. Is it smart business? Absolutely. Look at House of the Dragon. It's making bank despite mixed reviews. Same goes for Night of the Seven Kingdoms. Fans will watch anything as long as it has Westeros stamped on it. But where does that leave us, the loyal readers waiting for closure? Hanging by a thread. That's where. Still, credit where it's due. Martin's involvement ensures authenticity. His seal of approval on Night of the Seven Kingdoms proves that HBO isn't just phoning it in, at least not entirely. Do you think Martin owes it to his fans to finish the damn books? Or should we just accept that HBO's adaptations are as close as we'll ever get to a proper ending? At the end of the day, whether it's House of the Dragon, Night of the Seven Kingdoms, or some other untitled project, one thing's clear. The world of Game of Thrones isn't going anywhere anytime soon. Love it or hate it, HBO knows how to milk a cash cow. And honestly, who can blame them? With millions of viewers worldwide, why stop now? As for me, I'll keep tuning in not because I'm holding out hope for perfection, but because I'm curious to see where this train derails next. What about you? Are you excited for what's coming, or are you ready to move on? Let's talk about the episode count for Night of the Seven Kingdoms. 6 episodes? Really? It feels like HBO is cutting corners, doesn't it? But here's the thing. Shorter seasons allow for tighter storytelling. Each episode can focus on key moments without dragging things out. Still, I can't help but wonder if they're just trying to save money on CGI. After all, dragons aren't cheap to animate. But this series doesn't even have dragons. So what's the excuse? Dunk and Egg might not seem like the most exciting duo at first glance, but their journey is foundational to the world of Game of Thrones. Their adventures lay the groundwork for future conflicts, including the downfall of House Targaryen. Without their story, we wouldn't have the political tensions that define the main series. So yeah, it's not just some random side quest, it's essential viewing for any true fan. Let's face it, not everyone's happy with HBO's choices. Some fans want Robert's Rebellion, others want the Long Night, and a few even want the Sea Snake. But HBO seems determined to explore lesser-known corners of Westeros. Is it a smart move? Maybe. But it's also risky. Will audiences care about Dunk and Egg as much as they cared about Daenerys and Jon Snow? Time will tell. If HBO wants to win back the hearts of hardcore fans, they need to focus on Robert's Rebellion. This is the event that shaped the entire original series. It's the reason Ned Stark became Hand of the King, the reason Robert Baratheon sat on the Iron Throne, and the reason Lyanna Stark's legacy loomed so large over the story. Without this rebellion, there's no Game of Thrones. So why hasn't HBO greenlit it yet? Fear of failure? Lack of creative vision? Or maybe they're just too busy milking House of the Dragon for all it's worth? Look, I get it, adapting books into television shows is tricky. Just ask anyone who watched Season 8 of Game of Thrones. The backlash was brutal, and HBO learned its lesson the hard way. But here's the thing. Robert's Rebellion is already written. It's in the books. All they have to do is follow the script. No need to reinvent the wheel. So why the hesitation? Are they afraid of messing it up again? Or are they just too focused on making money? Whether it's House of the Dragon, Night of the Seven Kingdoms, or Robert's Rebellion, one thing's certain. The world of Westeros is here to stay. HBO knows how to capitalize on nostalgia, and they're not about to let go of such a lucrative franchise. But the question remains, will they deliver quality content, or will they continue to churn out half-baked spin-offs? Only time will tell. Alright mates, that's the lot. You've stuck with me this far, and for that, I tip my hat to you. If you enjoyed this little dive into the madness of Westeros, do me a solid. Hit that subscribe button, smash that like, and maybe even drop a comment or two. Tell me what you think. What's your favorite theory? Which spin-off are you hyped for? Or are you just here for the dragons and the drama? And while you're at it, don't bugger off just yet. We've got another cracking video lined up for you, our deep dive analysis of the latest blockbuster films. Trust me, you won't want to miss it. So grab your popcorn, settle in, and let's keep the conversation rolling. Cheers lads, and see you in the next one.